turn in front of this truck, but we gotta slow down. They're hurting the small businesses. That's what this law, they're going to make it another hoop that you got to jump through for a small business. Like the place I just was. Okay, what's this? I'm just going to get right over in the other lane. I don't know what that is, but better slow down or you get a ticket. Road work ahead. Probably doing new road or something. Let's see here. We're gonna have to get down, I guess. You see activity. We're gonna have to get down to 55. But yeah, they're just wiping out all these little businesses. Now you gotta give women, nobody's gonna want to hire women. It's like you gotta jump through all these hoops if you hire a woman. You're gonna have to hire 2 people. And then they want equal pay. And you gotta do all this extra stuff for them. I mean, if you are running a business and you're just starting out, that make the difference between you failing and succeeding. If you can somehow get a guy to work for you, they don't have to have all these days off. They're not going to have a baby or anything. They've got too much shit. The UDC code, they've got all these rules. They need some. But they started out with none, and then they get to a certain point where there's enough, where you got to have fairness, and now they're getting to the point where nobody can afford to run a business unless you're a corporation, and I think it's consciously done. They just keep the people poor. They all got to work for you. That's no good. But I think that things are going to change. I think something's going to happen in this country where people just say, no, we're going to start our own businesses. We're going to make things decentralized. And there's already people that say they don't want to work for the big corporations. They don't want to have, it doesn't mean anything to them anymore. I think something's going to change in this country. There's going to be some kind of a catalyst that's going to cause it. And people are just going to realize, no, we got to do something different. And it's going to be a lot of people that are going to make that choice at once. Something may happen to this country to cause it. That it's going to decentralize the whole country, and it's going to cause a lot of people to say, I'm going to start my own business. I don't know how they're going to get around all these laws they're making. If we're going to have to get a president in or some leadership in that's going to repeal them or something. Oh, they're doing their shoulder. That's all. They're grading the shoulder. That's all they're doing. Maybe they made it look like, oh yeah, they're going to have one of the lanes closed. Okay. But, and these news media, they're all for it. They're paid by the corporations. Public radio, even. They're not making their money off us. They get a little bit from us. Okay, here's another grader. Give them some space. Archer Daniels Midland, they give a lot of money to NPR, and they probably do a lot of our food. We got to stop buying all this shit food that's made by the factory farms. They're talking about all these factory farms. Iowa's a big place of factory farms. Something's going to happen. Hopefully it happens soon, where that's all broke up. They got to break that up. They're destroying the land with that type of farming, and they're poisoning us. They're farms of death is what they are. They're not good at all. It's garbage that they're making. They got to break all that up, and it's most of our food. That's the food. All the poor people buy that. They don't have money for organic, and then they end up sick because they're eating all this sugary crap. All that's got to be broke up, and these have to be subdivided again. All these farms have to be subdivided. There may be able to be some organic that's big, but they got to go organic. They got to change. They're ruining our land. They're poisoning our land. I mean, Neffs, they grow organic. I don't know if they still do, but they may still grow organic, and that's fairly large. That's only like a couple 100 acres, though. But they need to change this, all of this, the whole thing. It's all these. Big is not better. There will always be some big stuff, and there are some things that do well big, but we need to get away from a lot of it. I mean, the original idea with corporation was, okay, you got a bridge that you got to build, and it's like, you need a corporate bond. You need to sell corporate bonds. You need to have a corporation handle a job that big, because it's too big for a family. And the only way to have that is to have a corporation, to have bonds written, to have a company come in and do it. You need to have hundreds of men. There are big projects that we have that need that, but we don't need to grow our corn that way. We don't need to grow our apples that way. People should have their own orchard, and they should have a family business. And then they're organic. They can take care of it. And then they sell it to the local community. And then they should have some way that they can sell it for access to other areas, because there are some areas that maybe don't have apples. They need to redo our economy. They need to completely redo our economy. It's all messed up. It's evolved into it serves the elite. It doesn't really serve the society. It serves the top people, top 1%, and it keeps us poor and sick. Animos 64, I seen that coming up. I remember that. That's in line with Chicago, I think.